Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this map and we're going to create some sort of online application with it. And so there's kind of 4 different tracks of things that you can do. You can go and you can create a dashboard, you can throw this into a story map, you can deal with Experience Builder, or you can do an instant app. Now, since this is our first one that we're doing, I want to actually put this into an instant app. So I'm going to click on Instant Apps. Now, these are all pre-built applications that Arc or Esri has created. So the very first thing that you'll see when you show up is that it will have a series usually of recommended ones that are going to show up first, and then it's going to have all of the other ones. And so these ones here are the ones in alphabetical order that it thinks might be good, but then you'll see the rest of these and they say, well, you could, but you're kind of missing something for it. And so in this case, the ones that it has taken a look at are things like a slider. That's really good for something with a timeline. You can see that a Streamflow viewer also seems to have this kind of timeline in it, and this is in beta testing. You can see that you also have things like Exhibit, where you can have other pieces of information. You can have insets, so if you want to zoom into a particular place. There's the interactive legend, there's a media map, there are nearby where you can add certain things. Portfolio, public notice, sidebar, all of these have different things that are available to them. And so playing around with different versions of each of the apps are going to give you kind of an idea about some of the things that they do. I'm not going to go through all of the specific things in this video. What I'm going to do though is actually create a slider one for now, and then I'll come back and show you in a swipe tool as well. So I'm going to choose a slider, and it's going to say, okay, well, what name do you want to give your application? So I'm going to I'm going to give it the same title. That's fine. I'm going to keep it in cartography. It's going to get all of the same things from this, and I'm just going to create this application. And so it's going to load in your map and show you all of the different things that are potentially available. Now, if you are fairly fine with all the default settings, they have a mode, which is like the most essential part of things, and then they also have the non-essential, where you can have all of the different things. So the one with just the essential bits of information is going to have this, it's by default going to pop on, and it's going to have this Express. And so in Express, you're just going to have the options that are kind of critical to what you want your map or application to have. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on step 1. And so on step 1, it's already created this seismic risk map. That's what we have. Next, you're going to say, okay, well, what option do you want to have? So maybe I want to play this as on a loop, and how fast do I want it to play? And so then I can say, yeah, we're going to see what that is, and it's going to go through, and it's going to show you how it's going to play, and how fast it's going to play. So I'm going to create that a little bit faster, and it's going to step through time a little bit more quickly. All right, so you can see that each of these days it's popping by, and if you have, it's going to say, do you want to hide or do you want to have this effect? Now, it has inherited this slider from the web map, and so I want to say, well, let's show these progressively from the start instead. So if I do that, then what it's going to do is that it's going to switch, and it's going to start adding these as it goes, as it progresses through time. Now, it's doing this, again, individually, so over the start, it's going to take kind of a long time. As we continue progressing, it's not until the 1960s that we start having a lot of information, and then we kind of go from there. So this is where you might end up with certain things where you want to turn off the Express, so that you can say, okay, well, I want to have some other thing that is going to pop up. And so then you can say, okay, well, what do I want my app title to be? Do I want to have an introduction window? This is where you have a thing that pops up ahead of time where you tell people about your application, what is interesting in it. So maybe I say, okay, this is a web application showing the interactive, or showing the earthquakes from 1960 to 2023. There we go. So this is going to be the title. Anything else I can add in here. So this is where I can add all of the interesting information I want people to know ahead of time. If you have terms and conditions, this would be also a good place to put it. Your text alternative for the map, this is going to be important if you want things to show up on any sort of machine reader, anything for people who have vision impairment. This is something that also is available for SEO. And so that's something that you might want in here. From there you go next, and this is the other bit of interactivity that you have. And so you can also add in various different things. So do you want people to have this list of, that's the introduction window, list of layers. Nope. There we go, this list of layers. So they can then turn on and off the various different layers. Do you want people to have that option for their interactivity? Do you want to have a fixed location for their pop-ups, right? So if I click on any of these, right, if there's no fixed location, then it's going to pop up wherever. If I have a fixed location, it's going to always pop up at the bottom here. I very rarely have a fixed pop-up location, but oftentimes I'll have a layer list, personally. And so when I'm happy with that, I can go from there and I can select what mode I want. I can select light or dark mode, the theme being also different types of things. So I can go with forest and it's going to turn this green, or I can go with dark, it's going to turn it gray. Right? So whatever one you want with this. Now this is a fairly light background, so in this case I'm going to have that as light. Down here there's more interactivity that you have. So on the top right you have this home button and the zooms. Up here you have the layer list, the information window, and the search. So maybe I want to say information list and search, or maybe I actually want search down at the bottom left. Right? So maybe I want it down here somewhere. And, oh no, that's the slider. So maybe I want it on the right-hand side instead. So now I just have information and layers there. And so eventually you're going to run out of next here, and then you would hit publish. But I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to say, no, actually I want more control. And so I'm going to turn off this. And so now you have all of these options down here. And so with the slider, now I should have some information that I can have here. So I can do progressively from the start. I can include time in the display if I want to or not. I can play it, I can still play it in a loop. I can also hide the sliders, ticks, and labels so it just goes all the way across. I can have the current and forecasting settings, right? So this just does it from September 30th to October 7th. There's not a whole lot of information here, so I'm not going to actually do that. And then I can automatically play the slider. If I have any sort of about information, I can also have more of the app details that I have here. This was something we didn't have before. I can add a cover page if I want. I have more control over I can add a logo. I can modify how the searches and the shares go, right? So there's more information for what you can have and what you can interact with if you have this with Express off. So that is how we can create this, and we can then say, okay, great, that's what I want to do, and I want to publish it. And when you say, are you sure you want to publish the application? You say, yes, I'm sure. And when you publish it, it's going to automatically share to the level that you had originally had. So if it was shared to USM level, it should automatically share. You can change that sharing setting in here. So this is shared to the owner level. I can share that to the organization level. Now, what you can't do is share this, you're allowed to, but it won't work, to a setting greater than what your data is. So if I say I want to share this with everyone and I hit save, the problem with this is that, and this is what it's going to say here, so the shared item for the reference is not visible because it's shared differently. So please review the sharing of those ones. So here, it's going to pop up with the things that have not been shared properly, and I can say I want to update that sharing. So if I've updated that sharing, then it should be fine. Now it's going to say when this date was published, and then I can head over into the share, and it's going to give you links. So I can copy this link, and I can say, okay, what is this going to look like? And so I'm going to copy that link. It's going to go here. It's going to show me exactly how it looks. And then when I enter, it's going to show me how this is going to be. And then I can also interact with it down here, right? So I can cumulatively see all of these earthquakes as they're building up. Now, one of the other things that's kind of important is this views at the bottom. Because you're dealing with online applications, not everything is done in desktop format now. And so this is also a way that you can see how it's going to look on your phone, right? And so you want to be able to take a look at this and make sure that the information that you see is visible and you are able to access this well. So this would not be great in landscape because it's cutting off various different things. So this would definitely be better as a portrait in terms of the phone view, and so I may want to look and consider what that is as I move forward. So I'm going to make sure that that's fine, and then I now have a web application that is published, that is available for viewing to the general public. So you can check out that at the link, and you can, it'll be this link. You can check that out if you want, and if not, then you can create your own. So I'll come back in the next video to talk about the swipe tool and see if we can build a swipe application instead.